Testing 1 2. Testing the audio 1 2. Again, testing my audio 1 2. Peace, Joker Fish. Word. Scratch the bass. Congas in your face. The king of the beat gonna rock this place. Yeah, man. I'm gonna do some conga playing later, maybe later on tonight. Not tomorrow, because then I have the house to myself. I can make a lot of noise. Okay, so that's gonna happen tomorrow. Anyway, let's get. Welcome to another episode. We're going to go into, again, biblical text. I'm doing this for friends. Going into the biblical text. I'm going to speak about it. I'm going to tell you a couple of great narratives and stories, okay? So peace. Hang in there. Yes. We're gonna go in, but before I go into the biblical text, here I am. All the blessings to you. Before I go in, and before we discuss that, I just want to mention a few things. Things that have been happening on the internet. I'm saying crazy stuff. I've been watching a lot of the Lions Den, the Sonetta, and same old things are going on with that. Very interesting, conversations. There's a lot of smart people out there, a lot of interesting conversations. But then I look at the experiences. What experimentations have you done? What experiences, what are you using this knowledge for? I want to say one thing, though. A shout out to my brother who sent me this. Check this out. The Himalaya Botanica chest balm, bro, made out of pure basil and turmeric. Wow, man. You put this on. I put it right here at night. Ooh, opens me up. Oh, my chest. This is fire. Fire. I'm going to use it to put it on my wrist. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm playing, you know what I'm saying? That's coming. Also, I'm going to be doing a performance for the African Royal Kingdom Federation, a procession, because it's going to be the Empress of Sheba's birthday coming up. So I gotta get on that probably the whole day tomorrow to record it. It's going to be recorded. So I'm going to do a procession. I'm going to do some Sudanese rhythms, also with some Mali rhythms, and then again, some Borinquen rhythms, some bomba. I'm going to put it together. It's going to be a procession. So I need the conch shells going on, you know what I'm saying? The bells and stuff like that. I have to record that tomorrow. The whole day I'm going to spend my time recording it, taking my time. Once I record it, and I'm going to shoot it out to them, and I'll let you know, if you want to, view it. You know what I'm saying? So that's a project that I'm working on right now. Got a couple of gigs coming up. You know what I'm saying? I'm heading out. I'm heading out abroad. So I got a couple of gigs coming up. So I got StreamYard on my phone, so I'll probably go on live on there on those, backstage, those performance, and I'll let you get a view of that. So I'm trying to hook that up now because I want to give those experiences. I want to share some of those experiences for a lot of my musicians friend. One of them being here, Joker Fish. Peace and blessings to you, brother. My musician friend right there. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so in the YouTube, there's a lot of things going on. Now, this morning, I went on Latin Pain, a good brother of mine, Latin Pain, which I'm ready to kick up the Cielos Musical Chronicles again and doing interviews. Latin Pain is one of those rappers, very gifted rapper. I'm going to interview him, bring his story out, interview him. And I also want to interview, now that Joker Fish is here, Joker Fish, maybe I can do an interview with you. We could talk about music. We could talk about music. I'm definitely going to line up an interview with Latin Pain, line up an interview with Joker Fish, and then again, line up some interviews as I'm traveling and doing my tours. I'm not going to mention the names right now, some celebrity and those tours, and I'll see if I can get some interviews going on live backstage, you know what I'm saying? So that's coming up, so I got to get out and do my thing. Just have to. I spend a lot of times here with my family. I set them up really nice, and enjoy these couple of years with my granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? She's spoiled, man. She's trying to run the house. She does run the house. Not trying to, she runs the house. So, but my family is okay. I'm healthy again. Remember, I was in the hospital. I'm healthy again. But I'm ready to go back out there. Just to, again, that's what I do. Yeah, very talented, poetry. And we're going to bring that out, Joker Fish. And maybe after I do the interview, I want to also invite other musicians and maybe ask him some questions about his experiences with the music and stuff like that. So we're going to make it very interesting. I got a brand that, I want to get that Cielos Musical Chronicle. Also, I got some very, very extraordinary rappers coming out of South Carolina too. I want to do an interview with them also. I did one with my elder, one of my master teacher, one of my elder, Latif, shout out to him. But his sons raps, they're very talented. And also I might bring in my son too, to do an interview on him too, and to see, what is the youth getting, where they're at, what they're getting into, see where they're at, what do they know, and see what drove them to get involved in music. I could tell you about my son, but I mean, that's very important. Yeah. And Joker Fish, yeah. Joker Fish, I also want to do an interview with you. You know a lot about music, and also, I know you're a guitar player. We're going to talk about it. Anyway, we'll talk about it, Joker. We will talk about it. I think you have my email. For those musicians out there, this is my email. Hit me up if you want to be features on Cielos Musical Chronicles. Now that I'm gaining a lot of more momentum and a lot of more people viewing the podcast, and a lot of times they don't come on because of the timing, but later on they start viewing it. So I'm getting a good significant hits, maybe like 100 and something views, by the time the week is done. But also some of the stuff that I did, I got thousands of views on other channels, but I'm trying to get my subscription for one is up, and also those views so that I can feature these musicians, and also as I travel backstage and feature the musicians and just, give us something to look at, consider, you know what I'm saying? So on the YouTube, there's a lot of discussion. First, let me talk about the Lions Den. No. Let me talk about Latin Pain. Let me talk about this whole thing with Lord Jamal and this whole narrative about, Hispanic, Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans, people from the Caribbean, being invited into hip hop, not being there when hip hop was originated, not being pioneers of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? We're culture vultures now. I mean, there's this whole big narrative. To me, it's ridiculous, especially for someone that's 60 years old that lived through that era and performed in that genre, in that era, was there in the very beginning. A lot of y'all knows, I can't play it here because they're gonna strike my copyright. I don't own the copyright to that, but the Funky 4+1 More with Pumpkin and the All-Stars, you know what I'm saying, on Enjoy Records. That's one of the first hip-hop 33 inch that, I was privy to record. I'm Puerto Rican. You know, everybody knew it. I was there hitting the bongos. Remember, where hip hop was born, we talk about Cedric Avenue and that part of the Bronx. That's the West Bronx, right? Yeah, the Southwest Bronx. In that area, you got University Avenue, you got El Grant Highway. I grew up on 170th Street on the Ghetto Brothers. Ghetto Brothers were a lot of musicians was in the Ghetto Brothers because it was just a neighborhood gang and things like that. And they even put out an album, you know, the Ghetto Brothers, you know, a shout out to those old heads from the Ghetto Brothers. And so when you get up to Cedric Avenue, you get up to there, you got Kool Herc. I remember Kool Herc jamming out when I moved to Boston Road and Fish Avenue. You know what I'm saying? That area. I wish I can I'm going to contact Kool Herc, trying to get him on an interview. And I also want to get some of the Funky 4+1. Sha Rock, I know. I want to get her on an interview. You know what I'm saying? I want to get DJ Breakout on an interview. I'm going to reach out for them. I'm going to find them. And I'm going to reach out for them, and I'm going to bring them to the show. You know what I'm saying? And I got a lot of other musicians that I work with, and they work with me. People that work with me were fabulous. I need to get them on here. You know what I'm saying? I lost contact with a lot of them because I was just a freelance musician. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in part of their crew and anything like that. But I was there in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about, man, 1973, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. I was in high school. I went to high school in 1974 and graduated in 79. 75 and graduated in 79. 4 years in high school, right? And graduated in 79. So I was there in 75. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, those years, you know, you go, you know, you're in high school, you meet friends, yo, check this place out. You know, let's go to the, you know, I wasn't allowed to go out to like the T Connection and there, they 70 DJs in the park are icon to hip hop. That's a fact. And so, you know, I used to go out, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't help it. You know, I used to ride my bike and I used to hear, you know, DJs in the park jamming. You know, I used to hear those garage bands out there in before Edenwood Projects up there by Laconia and 222nd Street in that area, those garage bands and the different bands in that area, and going there and playing congas. I mean, it was an environment. And even before then, in the Bronx, I was raised up with a lot of Cubans, so I did a lot of rumba. But growing up, I listened to a lot of Boogaloo. And Boogaloo was a lot of, you know, was a music that was African Americans and Hispanics together and using the cha-cha beat, and it was R&B, Hispanic R&B, what they call Boogaloo. And so people in the neighborhood. So if you got a neighborhood like Cedric Avenue with hip hop, what kind of neighborhood you think that neighborhood was? It's a culture thing, and hip hop stemmed from that. You had the DJs, a lot of them was Jamaican, Kool Herc is from Jamaica. A lot of the Jamaicans had this thing with the systems, but yeah, I had a brother named Cool Sky also that was one of the original. He didn't scratch. He scratched a little, but his thing was mixing out. You know, was mixing albums, and he even put out a 12-inch on that. I mean, very talented. His name was Cool Sky. Shout out to Cool Sky wherever you at. Afro-Cuban Rhythms, that's right. A shout out to Cool Sky. So a lot of this, you know, you grew up in that environment, hip hop, the tagging, bro. I had to stand guard all the time, but guys tag. They went to the 180th Street over there by East Tremont, you know, where all the trains park, the depot, and they would tag those trains or tag the train. Look out, make sure nobody is coming, or the car. And next thing you know, they bring out these big ass freaking markers, the big bag marker, and boom, 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 tagging the trains, man. You know what I'm saying? The inside of the trains, everywhere they went, they tagged. I mean, that was part of the culture. That's part of hip hop. And then the way we dress too, you know, the quarter field, you know, you had the knit shirts, you know, at first you had the quarter field jackets, you know, that was hip hop. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys now that speak about hip hop, no hip hop from later on after Run DMC, you know, and Run DMC, the Juice Crew, later on, Slick Rick, they came later on. I'm talking before them, the pioneers of Grandmaster Flash, Treacherous 3, like with Kumo D and them, Rakim, Treacherous, the Funky 4 Plus or More, Dumb Brothers. You know what I'm saying? That was, and then Bambaataa didn't have a rap group. Bambaataa was just a DJ. So he was just DJing parties. You know what I'm saying? But Grandmaster Flash was one of the first one that actually, I think he has a patent for, you know, I think he was the one that did the fader. I had a patent for the faders, you know what I'm saying, and mixing records and records like that. But then you had a lot of Spanish DJs out there too, bro, that was spinning crazy albums, even Hispanic albums like Jungle Fever, they were spinning that, even spinning Queen, We Will Rock You, boom, 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 boom. Peace, Rose, boom. Boom, boom, boom. This was the beginning of hip hop, using rock records, using French records. You know, they used to go down to 42nd Street. There used to be a record store down inside the station, the 42nd Street station of Times Square. There was this is where they found those archive records from France, German records, all type of different records, and they will look for the beats, they will look for the sound, and this is what they mixed into hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know, African American brothers, yeah, they gravitated, they became the MC because they were the party guys. You know, they were the one like, yo, put your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. And everybody said, oh. That's the MC, master of ceremony. Then later, yeah, when they started reading books and started wanting to leave a message, Zulu Nation, 5%ers, the Nubian Nation, you know, later on when they started to spit knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Then of course it became that, you know what I'm saying, the first hip hop. And then when they talk about the experiences, the underground hip hop stuff was like talking about some crazy stuff, sitting back in the Cadillac, smoking some black, gonna hit that stack. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna call OJ. Who know about the OJ? You know, they're gonna call the OJ, going to the spot. Oh man, yo, it was all over. And then it wasn't on the radios. Then you had hip hop underground stations that were bootleg stations. They used to hijack the frequencies on FM frequencies and on the basements, these brothers and play and DJ and play some crazy, and even have DJs there doing freestyle, MCs doing freestyle. It was crazy back then, and I'm talking about in the 70s. So a lot of these guys came in the 80s. They don't know. They don't know. You know, I'm surprised the Lord Jamal would make something like that. You know what I'm saying? Why is he hating on that? Because this is a cultural thing. You had Italians, white boys, French boys, Italians. You had a lot of the Hispanics and the black always were in the jams and always were together. That thing about Puerto Ricans didn't want to run and rock with black, that's bullshit. Yeah, sure, there was a couple of stuff when you had a Puerto Rican neighborhood and you had a black neighborhood, sometimes there'd be friction, but a lot of time, the blacks would come out, yo, you're Puerto Rican, you're black too, yo, come on, man, let's do work on Italian. And then the Italian be like, yo, we're black too, let's do work on the Albanians or the Greeks, you know what I'm saying? Yo, you had to live it. So I don't know where a lot of this is coming from. I don't know, doggy dog, I don't know, you weren't there, I can tell you that. I don't know what's your age, you weren't there. You have to talk to guys like, even KRS-One would know this. You have to talk to guys like from Sesasonic, Adu Malik, I used to know him by, who also was with me in the university that I went to. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z come on the Jazz Zone, and he was in the same university I was at. You know what I'm saying? The Nubian Nation started to kick out in the rap world. You know, to clean up the rap world, give more content to make sure that it didn't get into that whole gangs, all that stuff like that. But they tried, but look what happened. You know what I'm saying? You know, so my condolences to the family of that one rapper that I heard in LA that got killed in LA. You know, my condolences to you know, his family and stuff. I believe he was a drill. He was doing drill music. Drill music is kind of, you know, I like the music, I like the rhythms, and you know, I like the sounds and stuff like that, but it's a little dangerous when you start, for one, ratting on yourself, talking about, killing people and all type of stuff, drill, and it's the gang culture, throwing up signs and stuff like that. That's dangerous. Not the plug music is drill beats with R&B chords. I like that a lot. But again, music has always been rebel. Music always been rebel, even from Elvis, even from back in the rock and roll days, even the jazz. It always been a rebel. From the swing in the 1920s, it always been rebel music, gangster music, rebel. It always been like that. That's it always been like that. Because these are the people that go to the clubs. They got the money to spend. They go to the club. Or that's back in the days, they speak easy. Back in the days was the clubs or the social clubs. Stuff like that, the apartment jams, what I'm saying? Or the schoolyard, what I'm saying? They go out there and then this is a culture. This is how it was. So you cannot separate, exclude Hispanic people, Jamaican people, Trinidadians, people of all cultures, man. People of all culture, French and even Italians, like this guy was mixed, what's his name? DJ Capri. DJ Capri is mixed black and Italian, what I'm saying? And I got a lot of families that are also like that, Italian and Puerto Rican, into the music. So there is no race in music. That's right. There is no race in music. Music is universal. Music is, again, the word music, muse, like amusement park or amusement or amusing somebody is for pleasure. And everybody wants to have pleasure. But again, it was commercialized. It's like they commercialize sex. It's a pleasure, right? From the pleasure center. They commercialize sex. They commercialize music. They commercialize art. All of this, is part of that. I don't know. This light's kind of fun. Let me bring it down a little bit here. I'm saying? Here you go. So yeah, for them to make that type of it doesn't hurt me. I mean, it's to be expected. What I'm saying? A lot of it is for clout. I don't know what it is. What is it for? But it's strange when you actually live it. Like when people talk about living Islam, talking about Islam or in the community, on Nubian Islamic Hebrews, living in that type of community where we studying, the Arabic, we're studying the Aramaic, we're studying the Torah, the Injil, the Quran, we're studying the Sumerian tablets. When you come from that experience, right, and being taught, then you find these people teaching something that is totally, but I'm like, you never experience it. You never experiment. Like this brother in Sanetta, I'm like, I bet you he does. It's cool that the language and you're learning, and I can go into blue letters and I can bring up words in Aramaic, what they call Hebrew, right? I could bring those words up and match it with the Sabiic words and match it with the Arabic word. I can do that. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. But you don't live in a community where everybody speak Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I don't live in a community where everybody's speaking Sabiic. I mean, I can visit Parar, I can visit places, and I can go on the internet, and the community on the internet, everybody's speaking Sabiic. Yeah, that exists. Or Arabic, I can go on Arabic, but the Hebrew, and you don't see nobody going out. I don't see where everybody is speaking Hebrew and just speaking Hebrew. You don't see it. So I kind of like frown at that. You know what I'm saying? I frown. And the thing is to say that experiences, experimentation, all right? Okay? Experience and explanations. I should have brought my pen. I got a special pen that it says EXP that was awarded. I was awarded because I experienced things, I experimented, I explore, and I have the explanations to a lot of things. Then you got to earn that right. So you awarded a pen and a certificate. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm not going to do that here right now. One day you'll see my pen. I'll show it to you. But anyway, it's a lot of talk out there. We're all looking for answers. That's right. I'm not looking for answers anymore. I'm looking for life. I'm looking for people. I'm looking to experience, good things. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I'm looking to experience. You know what I'm saying? It's up to us to understand who we are and how to get along and enjoy. That's right. That's right. And contribute to humanity and get along, enjoy. Come on. There's always going to be disagreement. And when there's that conflict, you look at the third party. You look at the third party, somebody hitting the cut, or some organization, or some doctrine and dogma, and you got to look at that. You really, really have to look at that, and you got to expose it. Again, EXP, expose that, so that you can gain some type of sanity, man, and some truth. You can put the records together. Anyway, so, we spoke about a lot of things on these other episodes. Ramasu, my elder, Mugdal, Ramasu could tell you, man, I learned a lot. That's one of my teachers too. I learned a lot by just observing this brother when we were out there experiencing, experimenting, going out there with books, teaching, and spreading a doctrine. We were, engaging and bringing about unity, because we built a university where everybody come together and ask questions and come together and experience these experiences. So shout out to you, man. I love you. It ain't Moorish, it's more shit. It ain't Moorish, it's more shit. Well, brother, I mean, if you're going to use those derogatory terms and things like that, I mean, that's on you. That just tells me something about your character and tells me something about yourself, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that you have to deal with. That's something you have to deal with, because no matter what, you know what I'm saying? Moors, when you even go back into Marcus, when you go back more, that Moors Zionists, and you go back Moors, amor, mi amor, amore, mi amor, the term of endearment was here. It was even in Iberian Peninsula. It was amongst the Italians, the Iberian Peninsula, the Amazon, North America, North Africans. It was what they called Moors. Moor was just a moreno is a term of endearment in that language. And so you have amor, amor, amore, amor. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. That's all that is. But again, it's not a kumbaya moment. It's true. And a lot of people, again, they take a lot of concept and stuff and run with it. And so, but that's personal. You have a problem when you use something like that. And that's on my Facebook, Ricardo Rodriguez. Coño, man. If it ain't Moorish, it's more shit. I see what you're saying. If it ain't Moorish, it's more shit. I got you now, Roberto. Sorry for that. I get what you're saying now. Moorish, if it ain't Moorish. Yeah, well, you rock with that. So I understand what you're coming from. And I like that. That's yeah, but I'm careful. My brain is like, I watch when somebody say pseudo or shit or fuck or this or that, I kind of like boom, 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 what's going on? Because I've learned that words have power, words have vibration. So you have what they call spiritual detritus, and negative speech can create spiritual debris around you. It can what they say, taint your experiences around you. If you ever seen a person coming around and fuck this, bro, the environment is like, oh man, they just, some people like that stuff, they got everybody cursing, but it's like, I think that, no. I mean, I curse, I use words like that. Fuck this shit, man. I'm real. You know what I'm saying? But carajo, puñeta. Well, puñeta is not really this, but it's like carajo, me cago en nada, and fuck, and yeah, I could use those things, but I know that when you're careful, if you keep doing it, you create that habitual self where you're just cursing. You tend to taint your environment, and you lose a lot of people lose respect for you. And that yelling. You got people out there that yell. You got a lot of pastors get on the pulpit. You got a lot of Israelites that get in the corner. They start yelling, and like Pat Nabab said, because you yell doesn't make you right. You're yelling doesn't make you right. Does not. You could be wrong in what you're saying, but you're just yelling. Why yell? You know what I'm saying? There's ways to, and I do have that problem. My mother told me a lot of times, lower your voice. You don't have to yell. You know what I'm saying? It's create that vibe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I totally get it. So yeah, yelling, especially when you study, acoustical engineering, you learn about noise pollution and stuff like that. Our neighborhoods, noise pollution. Now you're very careful. In my household, I'm very careful. I have a problem in my house that I got a 2-year-old with a tablet, and I got TV here. I got a person here with a phone. I got a lot of noise. Okay, one love, man. Get your dinner. And you got all this being bombarded in the house. You got so much noise that drive. I can't sustain that anymore. But since my name is also Abdul Sabur, right? Saeed Abdul Sabur, I have to learn patience, right? So I have to be patient, but it doesn't mean that I have to always, damn, bro. I mean, man, sometimes I'm like, yo, the hell with this shit. Turn that shit off now. Turn it off, lower the volume, put on your headphones. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it gets you to that point. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So let's go on over here. So in the last podcast, right? Let me share my screen for a minute. In the last podcast, we did go over, let me do this here. Hold on a second. In the last podcast, we were going over this Genesis, and right? And why do people say Genesis of genes of Isis and so and so? And why do they equate that with Kemet when they say Reishi? This brother said Barashi, but and when I'm reading it said Reishi. And why do they say Ray, like the son of the ray, the sun? And when I read it, and the more I think about it, I'm saying, wow, this is a sun culture, a solar culture. Sun culture that is being again replenishing the earth because it was destroyed, it was void, destroyed, tuhu, buhu, it was destroyed, darkness, and so to replenish it again, you know what I'm saying, to bring it back to light into that darkness and let there be light. Light again, what light? Not incandescent light. What light are you talking about? You're talking about sunlight, fire. That's still the light you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? They had no incandescent light. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know. In Egypt, they showed a light bulb, whatever. No. It's talking about it's talking about light of the sun coming again to replenish. And then man was being formed. That means man was taking out already tribes that was existence was being amalgamated, put together to form a new tribe called the Adamic tribe. Adam. The Adamic tribes, Zakans and Nakeba. You know what I'm saying? So you can see this, you know what I'm saying? If you can match it up with archaeology, anthropology, you can see this. It's talking about a certain section. It's not talking about the whole world. You know what I'm saying? The beginning, it's talking about a certain section that had to be replenished. And there was a new found spirituality, certain rituals, certain laws and principles, like certain laws that was given to the Adamic people, Zaka and Nekeba, that they had to follow. Don't touch up this tree of good and evil. You know what I'm saying? Don't, you know what I'm saying? Follow my laws. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Till this ground. There was a commandments given to them. You know what I'm saying? Laws and principles. This new, for them to replenish, this new, renewed spirituality, spirit. When you look at the word spirit, you see the word ritual in there, right? This new spirituality was coming into play. You know what I'm saying? So it was a quickening spirit. It was a new spirit, a breath. I breathe prosperity into you. I breathe peace into you. I breathe my character, personality into you. Breath don't necessarily have to be oxygen. It could be metaphorically and allegorically mean, again, I breathe prosperity into you. It's poetry. It's scripture. It's poetry. It's allegory, metaphor, allegory. Poetry has a lot of metaphor and allegory in it. That's what you viewing here, reading here. You know what I'm saying? It's like poetry. So you have to distinguish what's allegory and what's metaphor. Of course, we weren't there. We didn't live it. All we have is these tablets, these books that was along the way translated and so and so. And all we can do also is reason. Reason. Does it make sense to you? To know, take away the K is the now. Is this deal with what's happening now? That's the question we gotta ask. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this new found spirit. And then it talks about the area Again, remember, we took into consideration the formation of the plate tectonic when you deal with oceanography, geographic oceanography. We took a lot of things in consideration and said, wow, so this garden that was placed in Eden, this area gone from Ghana, this area and this garden eastward, we know already what more or less what area was around. It involved Africa and Asia, yeah. But we already know more or less the location, right? We can get somewhere there, right? You know, we can follow that train of thought. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what we did. Is we followed that train of thought. So here, you know, again, the mist, you know, form God in a pleasant eating way. Okay. So we talk about those rivers already, right? So you know, again, the Yahuwah Elohim, again, plural. One of the Yahuwah, he who is of the Elohim, commanded man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayst freely eat. But the tree of good and evil thou should not eat of it, and the day thou eat it, thou shalt surely die. Let's look at this really, really good. So when you talk about this tree, what is a tree? A tree, right? Again, stick, timber, wood, stock, tree, have plank, stalk, branches, right? Timber, wood, stock, plant of this stock, of this, right? Of this, you don't eat it. Of this tree, of the knowledge. Look at the knowledge. Knowledge is dahath, right? Cunningness, or the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Perception, skill, discernment, understanding, and wisdom. When you go into the lexicon, you see that in there. Here, knowing, sometimes followed by knowing me, or knowledge of me, or now using noun for the verb, like knowledge, or like, right? We see that, right? Look at the word good. Good is tobe, well, goodness, best, merry, fair, prosperity. So this tree, prosperity, precious, fine, wealthy, beautiful. This tree had a capability of, again, prosperity. It was precious prosperity. Look at it really good. But then also it had evil. What is that? Mischievous, wicked, adversity, flavor, haunt, not grievous. It can make you sad. It can make you worse, unhappy. So I want you to consider that this tree, that fruit of that tree, has the ability to make you merry, happy, right? Prosperity and everything. And then also can make you sad and unhappy at the same time. Okay? Distress, worry, wrong. Think about it. And if thou eateth of this, if you partake of this, akal, if you eat it, devour it, right? You consume it, right? If you consume this, what happens? You should surely what? Die. Mut, die, right? Dead, slay, death, surely kill, dead man, dead, as put to death, or perish like a nation perishing, or prematurely neglect of wise moral conduct. By neglect, to die prematurely is to neglect wise moral conduct. To kill, right? To die prematurely. Premature, to die. Well, we got to look into this certain appears softened by liquid. It's a Phoenician Semitic language. To die, the middle radical appears to be softened by the liquid. Okay. Again, it could be physical death, or it could be to die morally, spiritually, more spiritual morals. You can die like that if you partake of this fruit that had the ability, again, prosperity had the ability. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Interesting. Look at it, you know? And the rib, which the Yahuwah God had taken from man, made he women and bore. But wait a minute, women isn't female. I don't understand. But then before he created Zakah and Nekeba, why now he's talking about rib and making a woman out of the rib? And if you know anything about the rib, we'll go into another time about the what's the DNA that's in the rib, and bore her unto the man. Again, what's going on here? An inconsistency. Because if you look at in the beginning of one, he created them male and female, right? And then he created man, right? And now you're talking about creating woman, right? This is how this is the bone of my bone, flesh of the flesh. It could be that he created, again, this man, this moral concept was created, and out of that, this woman, the womb, also, man taught women about these morals and conducts. Because I'm going to tell you the story of Zakar. I'm going to tell you the story of the war in the heavens. You see, when you understand the template, Genesis 1 to Genesis 2, the template is Genesis 1. He created male and female. In that being, we're both male and female. Now, in the heavens, in this, again, there was a war, because I'll tell you that story. I'll go over it. That story was told by Mugdal Abdul Latif. It just puts a lot of pieces together. So she's flesh, because she's therefore should a man leave his father and mother? He should cleave unto his wife. Yeah, not the wife going to the family of the man. It's the man going to the family of the wife, and they should be one flesh. Yeah, and they were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed. They were both naked. What that means to be naked like that in Hebrews 61:74, arum, right? To be naked, a bear, to roam around nude, naked, right? Simple. They were nude. Okay? And they were not ashamed. They were not a bush. They were not to feel ashamed or to put in shamefully or to shame. Shame, they were not ashamed because, again, they were full of light. That shadow self, shame, which is in the solar plexus, right? Shame in the solar plexus, that was that the willpower was there for them. You know what I'm saying? The willpower. So they had no shame. They had the shadow self was lurking in there, but it wasn't as prevalent. You know what I'm saying? Because with willpower comes shame. When we'll explain that later on to you. You know what I'm saying? So let me go back here a bit. Sorry. I lost my I lost my where was that? But anyway, I'm gonna leave it there because I'm gonna tell you this story if I can remember it. Also the deep sleep that was caused upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his rib, closed the flesh instead thereof. So it's talking about some operation going on here. So these little Yahuwah Elohim was a surgical. He performed a surgical task here, a surgical task. Okay, and so man, we're missing a rib or what's going on? And so this is again inconsistency. It's one that tells a story or whatever, but we can break it down. Okay, I'm just I'll refer you to a couple of books that breaks it down for you. But let me tell you something. Right. Let me tell you something. Peace. Let me relate something to you. So, let me see. While I'm doing that, I'm going to look over here. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to Revelation. Let me bring it up here so that you see it. Okay, let me bring it up here. Here it goes. Okay. In Revelation 12:7, there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. So the story that they don't tell you, because there's other books that were separated from the Bible from reading it. So you had the book of Adam, and Adam knew about this war because Adam was created on the spiritual realm, right? His character and personality was created. His primordial being was created on the spiritual realm, right? So the war was that they had a war in heaven. It was a warring. So one of the seraphim took a cherubim a baby cherubim. There was a war. The seraphim smashed some of the cherubims and took one of their babies from them and raised them amongst the seraphim. So you have the seraphim who was like, say, good character, agreeable being, and then you have the cherubims who was a disagreeable being, if I got it right. Excuse, pardon me or stand corrected if I don't got it. Okay, so you have one positive, agreeable, and a disagreeable. When there's a war between the two, right? And they took a little cherubim who nature, it was small, a baby. His nature is automatically 180-degree disagreeable. But when they took him and they raised him up amongst the seraphim who was 180-degree agreeable, this cherubim learned how to be agreeable. But so he subdued that inner nature of him being disagreeable and walked around as an agreeable. But because he had in him an extra that he was complete, you know what I'm saying? He had the instinctive knowledge of the disagreeable. He excelled very, very high and started teaching the seraphim about the other side. Once, right? Because he was once of this side, he's now an agreeable being, right? Or he's acting like an agreeable being, but deep inside, that nature of disagreeable haven't yet come out. It's there. They haven't matured yet. So then what happened, right? The Most High says, I'm going to create a man who will have both natures of agreeable and disagreeable to teach you guys, to teach you. I'm going to leave him to teach you the lessons. Okay? So that's when he created, again, what they call Zakar in the heavens, right? Right? So Zakar had both natures. So he took cherubim and the seraphim. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, my grandson is back. So, yeah. So when he's left behind, right, with this knowledge, right, to teach it to all of the angels, immediately the cherubim, right, whose name was, well, let's call him Lucifer for now. I forgot what his name was. Let's say not Lucifer. What's his name? I got to get the name for you, but let's say Lucifer for now. Or that being, right? When he immediately when they made the announcement, his content just fell down and his inner nature being disagreeable came out. So that's when the envy and the jealousy came out and says, well, wait a minute. You created me out of fire, smokeless fire. You created me with a great knowledge. And then I was raised amongst the agreeables, and I was teaching them for a long time. Now you're creating somebody. I'm much greater than him. You see the ego, the envy, the jealousy. I'm much greater than him. I know much more than he knows. So how are you going to do this to me? That's when that war started. And 1/3 of the angels when they defeated them, they ousted Lucifer, right? I'm going to get you the right name, but I'm using that for now. And the 1/3 of those, what they call fallen angels, and they came down to earth. You know what I'm saying? They were cast down to the bottom of the earth, to the earth. Okay? That was that war that went on. Because again, so Zakat knew this. He was in that realm. So when he came down to the realm of the earth, when he was also told, you got to go down there, right? Into the life of a man that I'm going to create, an Adam, you know, Zakat, you're going to go into Adam, and you're going to, you know, this is going to, you know, learn about the school of discipline. You know what I'm saying? So you can teach, again, you can teach all of my angels about discipline and stuff, because this one here of the disagreeable screwed up. You know what I'm saying? He screwed up. So again, Nakeba wasn't there, was not there, or didn't have any recollection. She was in the template of it, but she didn't manifest, right? According to the story now, because there's another story when you deal with women being the first one on this planet is true, and so and so and so. You know what I'm saying? But then, according to this story, this spiritual story is teaching about morals and ethics. It's teaching about these principles. So what they're saying is man has now the job, right? The capability of doing what? Of teaching morals and concept, right? And the spirituality to the woman, according to them, right? So now, everybody left, but that's cool. I don't know what's going on. So that's just a narrative, okay? That's just that particular story, you know what I'm saying? When you look at it, that explains why Eve did not recognize the cunning. You see, in the garden, what they call the serpent, the dragon, could not approach Adam because he knew already about that character. He knew already. So I recognize your character. I recognize you already, but the women didn't recognize that. So it was easy. That's the way that story is told, you know, in the religious aspect. So it was easy for him to deceive the women, you know what I'm saying? And not that really deceiving the women, is that the women were, you know, she was used to the pretty things. She was used to a different type of lifestyle. So he just appealed to that, he enhanced that lifestyle or that personality that she already had. He just enhanced it, you know, and that's how you see it. We'll go over that another time. Anyway, I'm getting to the hour mark here, but yeah, that's that narrative and that story. One day I'm going to read it word from the book of Adam. You know what I'm saying? Because all of the prophets were their prophet because they revealed a certain books, and that's the book in Adam talk about what happened in the heavens and how these fallen angels got to the earth, you know what I'm saying, and how they got into the garden, you know what I'm saying. And I'll tell you a great narrative about that. So these are just narrative for you to consider. These are narrative that puts the pieces together. When you get to know this stuff and you read the Bible, you're like, oh, wait a minute. The serpent, the dragon race, the dragon. Then you look at the dragon crest and the dragon people, the dragon seed. You know, the House of Dragon right now is showing on Hulu or something like that, right? So we could put the pieces together and say, oh, there's much more to this. This is dealing with principles, morals and principles, dealing with doctrines. Again, also dogma. This is dealing with a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. Say, well, hold on, wait a minute. I know there's a lot of people that never heard these narratives before. They never heard it. But if you study Sufi, or you study with the Ansarullah, you study Sufi, or you study Nile Valley Science, you're gonna hear these narratives. Because you're gonna read some of this stuff in the Vertex. You're gonna read some of this stuff in the Metadata, you know, in the Celestial Cow. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna read this. You know what I'm saying? You're going to put the pieces together. You're going to be like, wow, this is that narrative. This is what's shaping our era, our personality and characters in our era in this religious era, which now, we're now heading back into pantheism, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, a lot of people never heard of this before. I'm just sharing it, and it's for you to consider. You know, especially for my Israelite brothers and sisters, because consider these stories, because a lot of these stories, that's how, like, Mighty Hebrew knows a lot of these stories and he can get down on that. But a lot of times, you know, it's not what you know, it's how you present it and how you present it. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be very careful, because a lot of people, they stick to their doctrine, their dogma, their ways. But you got to tell them, listen, you know, that's cool. Nobody's telling you to change. I'm just here to enhance a little more, you know, to make that inspire you, so that you can inspire the youth, So you can inspire the youth to build, be contributors to natural nature, be a contributor to inspire, to build these communities, inspire them to learn languages and apply science and stuff like that. When you inspire them with that, they be like, wow, that's just inspired me to seek more and more and more and to become this and that and to this and that. It's about that inspiration. You see the word inspiration is the word spirit in there too. Because I breathe into you inspiration, aspiration. I breathe that into you so that you may prosper, unify, prosper, make this a better place, prosper, get your, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, with that, I'd like to say all in blessings. I think I scare everybody away. I think it's the time also, dinner time. And I think I scare everybody away and stuff like that. But anyway, cool. The narrative is there. It's documented. It's on there. You know, it's just, hey, you don't have to believe it. It's just speculative. You don't have to believe in anything. But it's a thing about knowing these narratives. So you can engage people and say, oh, I know where you're coming from. I know that narrative. Yeah, CeelosCongas, yeah, he said that narrative. I know that narrative. That's interesting that you're saying that because they never talk about what happened to those fallen angels. And they always talk about the serpent, but they never equate a serpent with being a dragon and having ended with the dragon race today. Who are these people today? You know what I'm saying? And what industry do they control? You know what I'm saying? You know, put those pieces together, bro. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, you know, all in blessings to you all. And, you know, next time I'll try to keep it a little more interesting, a little more, you know, interesting and a better timing. Okay. So all in blessings. Peace.